You've probably already bought something for this. A workbook, a chart with stickers, maybe an app that promises to teach your 5-year-old responsibility in 15 minutes a day. Here's the uncomfortable part. Most of that stuff isn't doing what you think it's doing. Age 5 is a strange, quiet hinge point in a child's life. Their brain is going through one of the fastest bursts of change it will ever experience, not in what they know, but in what they can do with what they know. Researchers who study this stage aren't looking at flashcards or reading levels. They're looking at something much less flashy and much more powerful. It's the stuff that doesn't show up on a report card. The stuff you can't buy in a box. Developmental psychologists have a name for this window, and once you understand what's actually happening inside your 5-year-old's head right now, you'll start seeing chances to build it into your ordinary day, without a single new purchase, because what your child needs most at 5 isn't a new skill. It's a new kind of skill, one that will quietly shape almost everything else for the next 15 years. It's called executive function. Executive function sounds clinical, but it's really just a mental toolkit your child uses to manage themselves, the ability to wait a beat before reacting, hold an instruction in mind, switch plans when something changes, and notice their own feelings instead of being swept away by them. Not facts. Self-management. Picture this. Your 5-year-old is halfway through building a block tower when their sibling asks to play too. In that half-second pause, the one where they don't knock the tower over in frustration, where they say, okay, you can help instead, that's executive function firing. It's not personality. It's a skill. And like any skill, it's built through repetition, not instruction. Researchers who study early childhood consistently find that these self-regulation skills at age 5 are strong predictors of later academic and social outcomes in some studies. Stronger predictors than early reading or math scores. Not because self-regulation replaces learning, but because it's the operating system that everything else runs on. A child who can pause, plan, and redirect their attention is a child who can absorb a lesson, repair a friendship, and recover from a bad moment. And here's the part that should feel like relief, not pressure. This shows up across income levels, family structures, and backgrounds. It's not a skill reserved for children with tutors or enrichment programs. It's built in ordinary moments, waiting for a turn, following a 2-step instruction, calming down after a disappointment. The kind of moments that happen in every single home, every single day, whether or not anyone's watching. You don't need a curriculum for this. You need to know which ordinary moments count. In the late 1960s, a researcher named Walter Mischel ran a simple experiment with preschoolers at Stanford. He'd put a marshmallow in front of a child and make an offer: eat it now, or wait alone in the room for several minutes and get 2 marshmallows instead. What followed was almost unbearable to watch. Some children grabbed the marshmallow the second the door closed. Others visibly struggled, covering their eyes, singing to themselves, sitting on their hands, negotiating with their own bodies to hold out. A few made it the whole time. For years, the marshmallow test was told as a story about willpower, as if some kids just had it and others didn't. But later research complicated that picture in an important way. A child's environment mattered enormously. Kids who'd learned that adults' promises were reliable waited longer. Kids whose experience taught them that promised rewards often didn't show up grabbed the marshmallow fast, and reasonably so. The struggle wasn't a character flaw. It was a strategy shaped by trust. That's the real takeaway. Self-regulation isn't something your child either has or doesn't have. It's something that grows in the soil of a predictable, responsive relationship with you. So here's where that becomes something you can actually do this week. 1. Narrate the wait. When your child has to wait for something, put words on it instead of just saying, wait. Try. I know it's hard to wait. Your body wants it right now. Let's count to 20 together. 2. Offer real choices, not just compliance. Instead of clean up now, try, do you want to put away the blocks or the books first? Choice with instructor builds the same muscle as waiting does. 3. Name feelings before problem solving. When frustration hits, say, you're really mad the tower fell. That makes sense. Naming it first helps their brain calm down enough to actually think. Small moments. Repeat it often. That's the whole method. Now think about what's sitting in the toy aisle promising to do this for you. Emotional intelligence flashcards. Subscription apps with cartoon characters teaching patience through a screen. Structured programs charging a monthly fee to build a skill that, as you now know, is built through relationship, not software. None of it can do what a 2-minute conversation at the dinner table does. None of it can do what waiting together at the door or naming a hard feeling out loud does. The research isn't pointing you toward a product. It's pointing you back toward yourself because you were already the tool this whole time. If you've watched this far, that already tells me something about you. You're the kind of parent who's looking past the sticker charts for what actually matters. That instinct to ask why, not just what is itself, a form of the same patience you're trying to build in your child. You don't need to overhaul your parenting. You need to trust that the small, unglamorous moments you're already living through are the ones doing the real work. If this kind of science-backed look at how kids actually grow is useful to you, subscribe and hit like so more parents can find it too. This channel is built around exactly this. Real research. No gimmicks, no guilt, because in the end, it was never about the marshmallow. It was about whether your child could trust that if they waited, you'd be there.